Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Phil Shocker, the Nice Hedgehog, and we are here for our draft recap of the DDL. Not the DDL, my bad. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Phil Shocker, the Nice Hedgehog, here with a draft recap of the JJDL. The DDLs were together. This was a league run by my good friend John Jr. And unfortunately, guys, in a very close game against Khan, did not pull up the victory and more than likely were knocked out of playoffs because of that. It was basically a winning in situation. But hey, man, we were having a good time. This was again one of my best teams I think I've ever drafted. There were like probably maybe two Pokemon in the entire draft though that I did not really like, and kind of was bad that I didn't get a chance to use it all because they were just either that bad or they just did not perform well. So but overall, I'm happy with this team. This team performed so much better than I expected, and I know the record doesn't show that we performed the greatest with this team. I personally feel like we played super well with this team. So, with that being said, we're gonna do a recap. So, how I do these recaps is I like to go back from my worst mons all the way to my best mons. We did have a 10 mon roster, so I always like to go over my bottom roster and then talk about my main six going forward. So, with that being said, let's talk about the team. So, honestly, just barely edging out Enamorous because Enamorous, in my opinion, at least the Therian form, Enamorous Therian sucks. Don't draft it. Bad Pokemon. Maybe that's just me hating or just me not being able to use it this well this season. I don't care. It's bad Pokemon. I might try it one more time to give it a benefit of the doubt, but it's bad Pokemon. Don't use it. But it's only fairly good over Arcanine because Arcanine only came one game, clicked one button and died, and couldn't be brought to any other game because it had bad matchup in every single game known to mankind. So that's why I'm probably not going to draft regular Arcanine anymore. I tried drafting it several times and it's just not been working out for me. I do see the appeal and like for Arcanine, but I just feel like me and Arcanine don't mix. I do like his Hisuian brother more, and probably will try to draft him more and try to use Terra with him more than this. But who knows? Maybe in a Terra format league, I'll think about Terra Arcanine and think about something like that in the future. But for regular Arcanine, I just don't like it. It's not really that my kind of mon, so there's that. Up next, we have Enamorous. Like I said, this mon's trash. It's bad. It does not get flying stab besides fly, which makes absolutely no sense. But overall, this Pokemon, it was. I will say we did bring it to more games than I saw myself bringing it to, surprisingly. But overall, I just don't like this Pokemon. Also, if anyone's wondering, I'm not putting music in the background. This is just a draft recap, so I'd rather you guys hear me talk instead of having the music in the background. But Enamorous, it wasn't really that good, man. It could have came in the clutch for us last week. And the thing was too, if anyone's also wondering, if why didn't he click Moonblast to just get the KO and then risk the head smash miss, he literally clicks Flare Blitz with his Arcanine and wins that way. That is your reasoning. Also, the fact that this thing can't even with an agility outspeed an Urshifu makes no sense. But if maybe I counter speed it to where it was faster than +1 backs, then I guess maybe it had a shot. But I don't care at this point. But with that being said, let's talk about not drafting this thing again. Overall, it was unique to try for the first time, but it's just not my mark. My boy Zarude. Unfortunately, Zarude didn't get to do much of anything this season, which really breaks my heart. This is my favorite grass type to use in draft league. It is such a good Pokemon. I know it can be good. It has so much good potential. I definitely think we were in positions that we just couldn't take advantage of it with it. And plus, again, we never got to showcase it in some games because the back steals the show from it. But overall, I think it wasn't bad. It could have been better though, and we could have maybe brought it to a good couple of games if we brought some of the right sets and if we really wanted to take chances with it going forward in the season. So I don't blame us for how we played with it this season, but it's going to be one of those mons that I do want to get back into trying just because it is a very good Pokemon. Next up, one of the two shockers for this team. One of the two new Pokemon that I drafted and never used before. Paragon only came to one game, or possibly came to two, but it came to one game, only got like two KOs, but it honestly God could have swept Dashing in week three, right? Or was it week two? It was either week 2 or 3. I think it was 2. But we would have swept Ashen with it. We missed the focus blast. But I'm making Cryogonal the best of the bottom just because of the fact that it just pressured teams offensively. I see what great potential this thing has, and I actually just picked it up for the last few weeks of a Wi-Fi league I'm doing, and I'm excited to try it there. It's only gonna be a half to try with it since I'm only using it for half a season and potentially for playoffs if I'm lucky to make it there. But Cryogonal was honestly one of the best shockers from this team. I absolutely love this Pokemon. It's a really good Pokemon, and definitely going to be looking forward to a potential future Pokemon, even a potential Terramon, because I think with Terra, there's a lot of potential with this Pokemon. So definitely potentially see me try to use Cryogonal in the future. Of our best 6 months, this was the weakest performer in Iron Treads. Now, obviously, Iron Treads has a lot more roles that it can do. I won't lie, I blame a little bit of the play of Iron Treads on me just because I was an idiot. Like, I probably should have never risked Iron Treads versus the Mew against the Volt in week 6. And I should have been able to get a KO with my Iron Treads versus a Glow King to where I wouldn't have stressed about Glow King if I wasn't an idiot. Idiot with that. If I remembered I was max speed. So mad and embarrassed still about that game against Draco. Just because I felt like I embarrassed myself there. But Treads, I might give it another shot in the future. I really like Great Tusk. I definitely think Great Tusk fits more of what my playstyle is, which is like offensive hitting. Not to say that this thing can't do that, but I think Treads just for some, Tusk for some reason I feel like it's more better for me. Tusk is definitely slower and with Treads, but I do think Tusk fits more for what I like versus a Pokemon. Not to say Iron Treads is bad. I definitely think Iron Treads is definitely worth drafting. It's a very good steel layer, especially paired with Baxcalibur, and especially at Terra on Baxcalibur just because of the potentials you can go with it as well. So I really, really like that. So overall, I felt good about this one. I definitely need to give it another shot because I think it's not fair to just judge it on one performance. So hopefully we get a shot. Just after his performance, and honest to God, after like the attempts we've used this Pokemon, I'm making this my number 5 just because of how well it did in our last week versus Con. This mon is definitely underrated. And this is a mon that I might low key try to draft again because I actually had so many opportunities to potentially win and just beat out Khan with this Pokemon. So I realistically do want to try Ursaring again in the future. This is such a good normal type. It is so slept on. It really, really is. And I am going to definitely get my hands dirty with this Pokemon again. Absolutely love it. It was such a good Pokemon, and really glad that I got a chance to draft it. Was a Pokemon I wasn't expecting to like, but it's done really well for us this season. Up next, Azelf. Azelf performed a little bit under there for me. I did kind of work out, though. I wish I was Scarfed over Specs, though, now looking at that matchup, because I could have gone potentially Modest Scarfed instead of Modest Specs. But it is what it is. You can't change back. If I could, then I would. But Azelf was phenomenal. Absolutely loved the Pokemon. I want to give Azelf another try because I think there's so much more potential with Azelf with me that I'm not giving myself credit for. And cannot wait to give this thing another go around. It's just fun. Toxtricity. I personally will say this. This was a slight redemption arc for Toxtricity for me. As a man that only used it tried to use it before in Generation 8 and did absolutely terrible with it, to do an alright season with Terra as my Terra captain, and then to also, I would arguably say, did pretty decently well in this run. It just barely cracks my top 3 here for my best Pokemon that I brought. But I will say this. I'm a little bit more of a fan of this Pokemon and might potentially think about drafting it in the future. Just because it's different. It's a unique Pokemon. It's got more potentials. Now, obviously, I could have made it a Terra Captain, but when you have a Baxcalibur, you don't want to do that, man. But I overall felt like the team was really good. I felt like the team was very subtle, and I overall think Toxtricity was a good piece of the team. It obviously didn't have a lot for what it could offer for the team, but overall, I thoroughly enjoyed Toxtricity this season. I might start drafting it again, but we'll see where we get to. Now we get to arguably the 2 best Pokemon I had the whole season. Starting off with Quaquaval, honest to God, 6-0 sweep. Well, not 6-0, but you know what I mean. 6-0 6-0 sweep against Kyle's. And could have really helped us in the matchup versus the Houndstone if I had just SD'd like I knew I was going to. Quaquaval is awesome. And I think John has always stated this. He does respect the fact that Quaquaval is definitely a really good Pokemon in the generation. He just hates the design and hates the look of the Pokemon. Which I don't blame him for. I think the same thing, but I do recognize that as a competitive in Draft League, this Pokemon's busted. This Pokemon is so strong. And I really want to try using Quaquaval again, just because it's such a fun Pokemon. Honest to God, I have so much fun with this Pokemon, and I had a lot of cool creativity with it a little bit. It also could have gotten me a 6-0 sweep if I wasn't stupid and didn't check my moves. Anyways, but up next, the MVP. Honest to God, it picked up basically 2 6-0 sweeps by himself. Baxcalibur. I proved that this Pokemon is broken with Terra, and you should never allow Terra on this Pokemon. J-Bear, if you're watching this, I did you proud, fam. I think overall we finished with 13 or 14 kills. Depends if self-killing moves in front of the Pokemon count, but I would have killed regardless. But I also want to count the kill on the Hippo, in my opinion, but I realistically can't really count. So it was either 13 or 14 KOs the whole season of 7 weeks with Baxcalibur, and literally, majority of those came in 2 games, which it does say that's a little disappointing for a Pokemon. A little disappointing. But when it's a Baxcalibur, dude, it's a Baxcalibur. I will say I should have tried running Jolly sets a lot more because I could have had a lot more opportunity for probably better bulk and better offense in some cases of the matchups. I really think that's what cost me a lot with Baxcalibur is I didn't run Jolly. If I ran Jolly in some sets, I could have guaranteed speed, and I also could have been very good in my matchups with it. But it's one of those things that you don't think of the moment, and I love running Adamant Baxcalibur just to get as much breaking potential as I can. I definitely think if I use Baxcalibur again, if Terra is allowed, I'm definitely taking this as a Terramon, but I'm definitely going to be a little bit more careful with how I draft it, how I use it, though, and try to build it more better than I already have. But this was, honest to God, the redemption arc for this thing, because I was, again, a little iffy about it, but when I use it with Terra, it's broken. I do still want to try it again without Terra, because without Terra, it can still be good. I know it can be good. But overall, this was an amazing season. I know the record doesn't show that we did really well, but I do think we had potential to make the playoffs. But at the end of the day, kind of came down to me in the matchups. Probably say 25% of the matchups because the matchups actually were decent, but my opponents prepped and played good. But 75% on me because I could have probably prepped better and played so much better than I know I could have played. But it is what it is, man. Season is over pretty much for us. But you know what? Like I said, I'm coming back for season 2. I'm coming back for redemption, and I am ready to get into this. I do want to give some massive shout outs, though. First to Kyle's. He's the one that's really been trying to, help make the content better for you guys. So give him a massive thank you and a shout out to him in the comment section below. I also want to give a massive shout out to Khan. He left a very sweet message stating that when it came to taking on some of the best, he definitely looked at me as one of those guys that was the best in the league and one of the best in the format to play, which that seriously warms my heart, man. That really makes me feel like I've definitely grown to be such a good battler. And a compliment like that really goes a long way for me, which I seriously appreciate. Of course, I gotta give it up to my GOAT, my guy, John. Thank you so much for the invite, man. I'm definitely going to stay in for season 2. You already know. And but this time around, dude, I'm coming for you. You better put me in the same division. I want them cheeks, brother. I'm going to clap, clap, clap them. I am coming to get my first win against you. You heard it here first. But with that being said, thank you all so much for the time here. And again, thank you all so much. I think we've cracked probably about, I would say probably at least over between 500 and 750 views in totals from the entirety of the season, which, honest to God, thank you so much for that. That really means the world to me. I do think I'm going to try to build my videos into a playlist and eventually going to try to do that as well for the future going forward. Just because I know making playlists would make it easier for people to catch my channel as well instead of just randomly scrolling through videos. So I think after this league, and going forward, I'm going to try to make playlists for my channel as best as I can. I just got to remember how to do it and how to do it. So With that being said, though, thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And with that being said, thank you all, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.